Right, to start you off in this graphics project, you will be learning how to create a simple document in Photoshop. So if you've never used Photoshop before and you don't know how to get a file up here, you simply go to File, New, and because we're making a logo, it's not going to be incredibly large. We're going to stick to dimensions 500 pixels by 500 pixels. So go ahead and type in 500 for width and 500 for height. You've got to make sure that your pixels unit is set and it's not centimeters or something else, because that will just not be right. So make sure it's pixels that has been selected and you have changed the width to 500 and the height to 500. The resolution, keep it at about 200, that just gives it a decent quality. And the color mode, it should be RGB. So if yours is not set to color mode, RGB, then can you please make sure that is the case. You don't need to play with anything else or change anything else. If you want to go ahead and name your document, you can do that. And you can just name it something like My Wear Me Logo. Okay. And then you just click OK. So when you do that, you get this document. Okay, so you can see I've got two now because I had one from before. I'm just going to close the one I had before. There we go. So we've got this document. So this is your Photoshop working area. This is your canvas that you're going to be placing things on, like text, images, shapes, and whatever to make your logo. Some of you might notice that you've got something on the side here, on the right hand side. This is your layers pane. In Photoshop, we work with layers. A layer is for anything that you put on your canvas area. So a piece of text could be a layer. You could have maybe 4 or 5 pieces of text, so that's already 4 or 5 layers for those. Any images that you add or shapes that you add, they are all going to be on separate layers. This is very, very helpful with Photoshop when you compare it to other applications like Paint, which is what some of you might be currently used to. Because you can actually edit different parts of the image without affecting the other parts of the image. So if you imagine you're creating a picture of landscape or something, and you've got the sun on one layer, clouds on another layer, the sea on another layer, the sand on another layer, you can actually go ahead and, for example, apply a glimmer effect on the sea without actually affecting anything else. And you can do it very, very easily. You simply have to click the layer and apply. So that's the beauty of layers. You will get used to working with layers because as soon as you add text and images and so on, they'll start building over here on the right hand side. So just a little bit of working with your actual document, just a couple of tips. If you ever want to zoom in or zoom out, then you can use the Control+ and Control- commands on your keyboard. If you've got, actually no one's going to be working with Macs, we're all working on the Windows machines. So yeah, Control+ is to zoom in, Control- is to zoom out. You can see the percentage indicator on the bottom left-hand corner. It's currently 100%. I can change it manually if I wanted to 50% for whatever reason. So there you go, it's changed to that. I can go ahead and do 120%. So that can be controlled from there. What else did I want to say in this particular video? The only other thing then is to actually show you how to save before we actually go ahead and start adding some content. So to save a file, you simply go to File, Save As, and you would have made a sensible folder for DT and computing somewhere, and you can save all your work in here. So I'm going to go ahead to a folder that I created previously called Graphics. So you can just make that if you haven't made it already. So that's currently sitting on my desktop, so you would have it in your documents or in your Dropbox area. If you don't have a graphics folder, you can go ahead and click on the folder icon to make a new folder called Graphics. And then you go ahead and you just type the name of whatever you want this file to be. Do not leave it as Untitled 1 or Photoshop Document 1 or something like that. Name it something meaningful like My Logo, Wear Me, Draft 1 if you want to call it a draft, that's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and name it that. I already saved one from before, so that's why that's already there. So I'm just going to go ahead and save over it. That's fine. So that's how you save your document. The video after this would be focusing on adding content. So go ahead and check out that video.